Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to get traded. Don't know when exactly. Jimmy Haslam at the Taylor Jenkins press conference created their own deadline of like, we want to have it done before the draft because obviously they're trying to get multiple draft picks, and this is a good draft to have multiple draft picks. The latest is Miami with the chance of Boston. The details constantly keep changing, but it sounds like, Tyler Hero and Khalil Ware are kind of the main pieces moving from Miami to Milwaukee. Then it comes into, Jaquez, Jovic, Yakachunas, draft picks. The Heat have the 13th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And and then what other draft picks can they add? Bam is not included in this deal. This is not, they're trying to pair Giannis and Bam. And then with Boston, it sounds like it has to be a 3-team trade or Jaylen Brown going elsewhere. And we'll talk about Jaylen in a minute. But them kind of loading it on picks. It sounds like he wants to stay in the Eastern Conference, which I think is wise. One of the reports was he wants to stay in the East Coast so that he can get to Greece quicker and easier. So sorry, Golden State. Sorry, Portland. You guys are on the wrong coast, although I love the West Coast. That seems to be kind of the deal there. What's a better landing spot for Giannis? And the goal is to win a championship.
Oh, it's not close. It's Boston. Like, I don't see where the championship nucleus is coming from if he goes to Miami. I also don't see, like, we've been hearing about this Miami stuff for so long. If the Bucks liked Miami's offer or their concept of whatever their trade is going to be, they would have taken it by now, right? Like, it doesn't make sense to me that Miami is going to be the landing spot based on what the Heat have to offer.
Yeah, it's funny to me in the sense of just looking at it, though, from Miami's perspective. I think this is the start of them building something. Like, I think they get Giannis. I think there will be multiple other moves. I don't know what
those other moves, though. Like, you got to give up a 13th pick. You got to give up, like, probably 3 more draft picks. You got to give up basically all of your depth pieces.
But I think part of it too is, like, I think it comes down to what is the actual trade for Giannis that Miami makes, because I don't think it's going to be all those 4 guys and all those picks. Like, I think there's a level of, like, trying to negotiate.
If it's not, then why is Milwaukee doing it?
Because Giannis wants out and he's not going to sign the extension. I mean, I think is really the end of it. And to be honest, doesn't seem like the offers are there. Like, Giannis has done a good job kind of muddying it up where it's like 15 teams in the other conference. None of you need to bother. I'm not signing there. I don't want to be there. Boom. So they've already cut it down to 14, right? Like the in the sense of, like, because he has 1 year left on his deal, and then he's eligible for an extension with Milwaukee October 1st, but, like, doesn't seem like he's going to sign there. They have a lot of stuff they're kind of, like, done a good job muddying the water without him, although I still think he's done a terrible job with his whole I don't want to be traded, all that bullshit. But, like, he's done enough where I think it's scared off teams where it's like there's not a lot of, like, Cleveland's not interested. When we're just looking at it in the Eastern Conference, right? Cleveland doesn't seem to be interested. They're not going to give up Evan Mobley. Sounds like they're going to run it back in some way, shape, or form. There's New York just won the championship. And I think that's part of the holdup too, was they were hoping New York would lose in some devastating way throughout the course of the playoffs. And that's another suitor for them.
Right.
Toronto doesn't really have anything that's interesting. I think you're looking at it going, like, Boston didn't seem like they were interested and then kind of came in at the end. So, like, I'm almost curious, what is the market for Giannis of places that he's willing to go, that they're willing to give up stuff to get him? Like, I don't know. Is Orlando in the mix? Is Atlanta going to be in the mix? There is the possibility of a surprise team coming in and swooping in and getting him. But, like, right now, it just doesn't. I just don't know where that stuff's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that ideally for them is probably Boston, just because either you take Jaylen Brown plus whatever else you get in the deal, or you spin Jaylen Brown somewhere else and get a whole lot more draft picks and presumably some young players. That just seems much more appealing to me than whatever Miami is going to give you. Even though the draft picks that you get from Miami might be more valuable than the ones obviously than the ones that you would get from Boston.
Right.
That's pretty clear because Miami would not be left like. Where is the championship contender level team coming from? If it's Giannis, Bam, let's say Andrew Wiggins picks up his player option, and like Drew Smith, like what is left over there?
Norman Powell still there? Is he, or what's his contract situation?
You got to re-sign Norm Powell.
You got to re-sign him. I mean, I think there's going to be, and by the way, his kind of end of the season and playing tournament sort of kind of made it a little bit easier probably to re-sign him. I don't feel like he's gotten, I don't think he's gotten a lot of great stuff. Like, I don't know if it's like, when I look at it, I just don't know if there's a lot of stuff there. I think they are waiting and hoping somebody's going to come in and beat Miami's offer. I don't think they're going to. I don't think somebody's going to. I think part of it too, when you look at it with Giannis, like, he's had a lot of injuries over the past 2-3 seasons. Like, it's not like I wouldn't feel comfortable sacrificing a whole bunch for a dude that like hasn't finished seasons in a while. Like, those are the things I'm really concerned about. And I'd be like, hey, is this something we really need to commit to? And I have to sign him to a massive extension and tie myself to it. So, like, the one thing I'll say, because you're right, like, what is the championship team with Miami? I don't know what that team looks like, but I also trust their front office a little bit more than others. Now, Boston, I think, is the easy fit. I still have questions about the fit.
It's not a team that would have to give up like the farm. Like, the big piece there would be Jaylen Brown. The salaries, I think, are pretty close to working just with the two of them because they're making close to the same amount of money. Jaylen Brown is under team control for a few more years, so you can even say maybe we'll try to build around Jaylen Brown for a year or two and see what happens there. Or you can say, you can hang on to him and then trade him a year down the line or at the deadline. Like, you can find there are multiple paths to getting what you want out of a deal with Boston. Whereas with the Heat, it's Tyler Hero. Who do you want Tyler Hero on just 1 year left on his contract, $33 million for 1 year? That's the best player you're getting in the deal. Are you going to sign him to an extension? He's extension eligible this offseason, but I think you have to wait 6 months to extend him after getting traded, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. And then you get Jovic on a $16 million next year, 14.9 the year after that, 15, and then 16 again. Is that deal really a desirable one? Jaquez with 1 year left, and then you get him as a restricted free agent. Who is extension eligible next offseason? Maybe you get Yakashunas in the deal also. Like, I don't know. Like, you're doing it for the 4 draft picks, essentially.
Yeah, that's really it. And that's why I also don't think they're going to take Jaylen Brown in the deal. I think that's why that's going to be a third team taking Brown. That's why it's been rumored, Atlanta. There was a thing with what's up?
Portland.
There was a thing with the Clippers getting Jaylen Brown and sending the 5th pick to Milwaukee. I don't know how real that is, but like there are things that are, I think, like in movement in terms of that. Because this is for Milwaukee, it's a rebuild. I think part of it too with like Tyler Hero at $33 million. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they spun him off later at the deadline, and turn him.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, can you turn some of these guys into other assets down the road? I think the one thing we all have to kind of, I don't think anybody's fully really considered, was the new lottery rules actually makes it that you can't be so bad, right? You can't finish in the bottom 3. Right. So like, you have to have some guys that can score and get you wins and things like that. And it was something I hadn't really considered for a little bit, but I could see teams saying like, shit, man, we're battling for 3-4. we need to be a little bit better so we can get fourth. We go get a scorer or whatever. I don't know. Like, this is the thing. I don't think the deal's great. I'm not trying to say like Miami's got the best offer. I just don't think people are making a ton of offers.
Yeah. I mean, we saw this with Damian Lillard too, though. Like, if you don't like the offer, just wait until some other team comes out of the woodwork. And if you don't like the offer, dare him to sign the extension.
Yeah, I think that's a risk they don't want to take. I think the situation for them is like they want to get multiple picks in this draft. One, it was a mistake for Haslam to say that.
Right.
Because it creates a deadline, and now teams, you kind of told everybody what you want, which is like, we want draft picks. We want to be in this draft multiple times in the first round. Right. And I think that's kind of the deal there. Like, Mark Stein in his podcast, in his newsletter, said, John Horst was in Orlando visiting Mikey Brown. This is the guy that's not going to be available for them at 10, but he's signaling, I'm going to have a pick higher than that, which is, I think, where some people thought maybe that's where the Clipper pick falls. Or it's like there's just so many little moving parts with this. I still think he gets traded before the draft. I don't know if it's Boston. And one thing for me with Boston, I'm a little bit concerned of the fit with him and Tatum. I get it. They have the same workout guy and Drew Hanlon and all that. And I'm sure it's great for him because he can visit 2 clients at once with that. But like, I don't think it's necessarily a great fit because like, I'm really turned off on Giannis after the Dame trade didn't work. Right? Like, in terms of like him being a guy that you can just plug and play. Now, they need more interior scoring. He's going to provide that. He's going to get downhill. He's going to get to the free throw line. This is, Boston's kind of signaling that, like, if they go make this trade, they're changing how they want to play, right, which has been their main tenet of, like, we're going to shoot a crap ton of threes and win the match.
You still can. Like, you surround Giannis with shooting, you can get a ton of threes up.
You'll get a ton of good looks and so on and things like that. But I just don't know how he pairs well with Tatum. Because he's not a screener. He doesn't like setting ball screens.
Yeah, I think wherever he goes, he's going to have to set more ball screens. That's just something he's going to have to do. Although I guess in Miami, maybe not. Maybe Miami, it's 4 or 5 pick and rolls with him and Bam. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that either.
And the other thing with him and Bam, like, great defensively, but those two offensively, like, cool. I'm just packing the paint.
You better have a ton of shooting. You better have a ton of shooting on the perimeter. Like, is Andrew Wiggins really the guy you want playing the 3 next to those guys?
No, like, it's going to be interesting to see. Like, for me, that's why I think with Miami, if they got Giannis, I think there'd be multiple things that would happen after that. And I don't know what. And I'm not trying to say like they're going to build a contending roster, but I think they can. I think they're playing it out a little, gaming it out a little bit of like, okay, well then maybe maybe Wiggins picks up his player option, and now we're looking to find, and then we try to trade him for something. Like, I don't know, but like, I think there's more moving parts there. For Boston, they make this move. That's their offseason.
Right.
Right. Because Brown most likely is gone. I saw some stuff where they're saying on that like they might even try to make this trade and not give up Jaylen Brown. That gets really difficult. How does that work? You're going to send out a lot of guys. But like, again, I don't know where that works. I just saw it on Hoops Hype. Doesn't necessarily mean it's real or anything like that. Again, we're delving into rumors, folks. So there's a lot of stuff there. So that's the Giannis side of it.
I don't even think they could cobble together the salary. Like, Derek White makes $30.3 million. Sam Hauser makes 10.8. Peyton Pritchard makes 7.7. That doesn't come close to getting you there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what then they hopeful, but it's being put out there. I think in that sense, maybe that's being put out there to placate Brown, because there's been so much smoke this offseason about Boston and Jaylen Brown and Boston possibly moving him. Like, at first I was like, that's whatever, Fugazi, like, I'm not buying it. But it's been so much and so persistent that I have to believe that, like, there is the possibility that Jaylen Brown gets traded.
Yeah, I mean, so much of it has been connected to the Giannis stuff, though, right? Like, how much of it has really been they're just going to move Jaylen Brown independently of a Giannis trade? I don't know that I've seen much of that.